state. So let's take this moment to transition over to talk about state legislatures, because this is an area that we focus on a lot at the Ascend Fund. You can see by this lovely bubble chart that we have vast disparities in the United States in terms of women's representation. We've got Nevada, as an outlier over here, with over 60% women in their state legislature. And in contrast, you've got West Virginia over here with just over 10% women in their legislature. And of course, the national average is hovering around 30%, it's 31%. And we have a handful of states, right, that are approaching parity. Many of them have women majorities in maybe one of their legislative bodies. But there is still so much work to be done in order to reach gender parity in our bodies. And like I said earlier, no matter what public policy issue you care about, it is addressed at the state legislative level. And if anyone has worked in state legislatures, you know that the policy that comes out is good, bad, or really, really, really ugly. And we've seen a lot of that in this particular session, reinforcing the need to improve upon those who are elected. So as we think about the opportunities for women in 2022, 46 states have legislative elections this year. I love numbers. So 88 of 99 chambers, keeping in mind that Nebraska has a unicameral legislature, are up for election this year. That means 6,166 seats of 7,383. So 84% of legislative seats are up this year. Of those, Republicans hold 62% of the chambers for 54% of the seats. Democrats have 36 chambers for 44% of the seats. But then framing that, it's almost the opposite in terms of women's representation. So women make up 66%. Democrats make up 66% of the women in legislatures and 33% of Republicans. So that's a particularly salient point as we think about progress. Redistricting has taken place or is currently being challenged in courts across the United States. We're seeing seats become less competitive, which will be a challenge for women because there's a strong power in incumbency. And if the majority of incumbents are men and they lose less than 10% of the time, it makes it harder for women to win. So we'll know more after the filing deadlines pass this spring about whether we will see advances in state legislatures going forward. Rebecca, anything you want to say about the Michigan legislature? You know, there was a big increase in 2018, and of course you have term limits. So we'll see all of those women term limited out in 2024. What are you doing right now to plan for that?
That is a great question. In addition to Black Women Win and a number of other hats, I'm also a campaign manager for a state house race in Michigan. It happens to be my older sister. She ran in 2020 and came in second place. And now, due to redistricting, the maps have been redrawn. So it is a new district. And at this moment, she is the only candidate in the race. So if we make it to the filing deadline, there will be one more woman in the state legislature in Michigan, and that will be my big sister. So personally, I want to start by saying that is my personal mission to get her elected. But also, as you mentioned, term limits are a tremendous opportunity for state house seats. And so in this particular cohort, we have a number of our participants that are looking at 2024, 2026, and 2028 as well. So we really wanted to emphasize folks who are also looking at the future as well.
Wonderful. Can't wait to see